The top of the hour it is, Central African time. Let's take a look at the Consultative Group on International Agricultural Research, or CGIAR Gender Conference. This entered its second day today in Cape Town. The event brings together scientists, policymakers, and development partners from across the globe to focus on advancing gender equality in agriculture, food, and water systems. With climate shocks, rising food prices, and resource pressures affecting smallholder farmers, particularly women and young people, the conference is being watched closely as a critical moment for shaping both policy and practice. Joining us now is Dr. Nicoline de Haan, Director of the CGIAR Gender Impact Platform, to discuss further. Dr. de Haan, good morning to you, and thanks for making time for us.
Good morning.
The conference enters its second day today. What are some of the key discussions or insights that have emerged from it so far?
The conference is basically set up to talk about gender issues in agriculture, because we do know, and research has shown, and it's a research conference, research has shown that women often don't have as much access to information, to extension service, to land, to seeds, all those things in agriculture. So we're a group of researchers who try to figure out some of those evidence gaps, but also to try to make things visible. About 20 years ago, a lot of agriculture, you would think it's only about men. And we've been working to make sure that women become visible in that space and that they can actually have a voice, so that they have a voice in what sort of agricultural system they want and are able to access all the technologies to make it better. So those are the type of things that are being discussed. And so we do discuss things like how important is actually fixing what we call fixing the women and fixing the system. So we've often have a tradition of, well, we'll give women more education, we'll give them more support, financial support. But that's all fixing the women. And so we're also moving more towards that conversation of how do you actually fix the system? And the system is a lot of pieces to it. It's policy, it's norms, it's also aspirations. What is a woman allowed to aspire to in agriculture? Classic case is we often talk about women in chickens or goats. Why don't we talk about women and cattle more? So those are the type of things we're really trying to uncover, unpack, and help guide the agricultural world to do better, so that we can actually lever more technologies and ideas and concepts for women. So, yeah.
Which of these challenges do you see as most pressing to address currently?
I think the most pressing one is two things. Two things is that we do notice that some of the more difficult and the more intractable things to work on is norms. It is what we as society assume women and men can do, and those are often very complicated to deal with. There's no silver bullet. So I think that's what we really need to work on. But the other one as well, I think is very important as we move forward, is the whole issue of climate change. Climate change is going to affect the food system. So we do need all hands on board to actually solve it, to make sure we can actually feed ourselves in 10 years. So those are the two things that I think are the most important. So one that's very slow moving, and the other one that's very intense and very much in our face.
Are there any examples of success stories from the conference that you can share with us that show how research and policy have made a positive impact when it comes to women and young people in the agricultural space and food spaces?
Yeah, I mean, we're doing quite a lot of work on figuring out what sort of traits women want in their seeds, or in their grains, in their beans. We notice that women often want beans that cook faster, so that they don't have to get wood from far away. So that's one of those cases. Another one, for instance, for livestock, when you're looking at livestock, women often end up feeding the livestock. That's one of their duties often. So we're trying to breed forages or grasses that are actually much easier to handle for women. Because I don't know if you know, but some of the forages that we have actually cut you. The grass homes cut you. And so we're trying to breed for better ones. But even on policy side, when you look at livestock, for instance, we work with countries, in a lot of countries, to work on livestock investment plans. So understanding the investment, the livestock sector in a country, And then we make sure that we also show that women are part of that, so that actually when the policymakers come, they understand that women are a big part of the livestock sector. They often do own a lot of goats and chicken. And so if we do that, then we actually can make sure that the investment also goes to women. So those are the type of things that we actually work on.
Another challenge that's been cited in terms of our continent is our heavy reliance on fertilizer imports and how policy can be used to change that. Has the conference touched on that? Will it?
Just specifically on fertilizer, no, I'll be honest. I mean, as part of a whole landscape of understanding agriculture, yes. And again, that's one of those things, a good point you bring up, because that's one of the other things in this conference is we bring together a whole group of people, also other practitioners, so not only researchers, to actually also figure out what are the questions, what are the research questions we as a research group can help solve. And fertilizer has not been on top of our agenda, but who knows, maybe it will be.
Right. So let's look ahead then to the UN's International Year of the Woman Farmer in 2026. How do you hope the outcomes of this conference will shape global efforts to support women in agriculture?
I think, first of all, it's neat that we actually have a year where we call out the role that women farmers do, because we do appreciate that women do between 40 to 60% of the labor in agriculture, including in Africa. So first of all, the fact that we're highlighting this and highlighting that role that she plays is important. But I also think it also will allow us to, and we see this conference also as bringing solutions, because there's a lot of often conversations about how women are overburdened, how women are victims of climate change, etc. And we want to turn that around. We know women are strong, women have agency, and women need to be part of that conversation and give them solutions, what actually works for them and what actually works for them in the system. Now, I do want to highlight, I do talk a lot about women, but we also understand that it's not only women. Gender is the relation between men and women, and how do we actually unlock it so that everybody benefits from what we're doing?
Dr. de Haan, thank you so much again for your time. We'll leave it there for today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Dr. Nicoline de Haan, Director of the Consultative Group on International Agricultural Research, or CGIAR Gender Impact Platform, speaking on the second day of the CGIAR Gender Conference. It's taking place here in South Africa in the city of Cape Town.
A fresh morning, a fresh perspective.